Let's be honest. Do you ever feel like you're living on autopilot? Like you're sealed inside this perfectly climate-controlled bubble? Food arrives with a tap. Entertainment streams on demand. Your entire world is calibrated for maximum comfort and, let's face it, minimum effort. We've basically engineered every little bit of friction right out of our lives. But have you ever stopped to ask, what's the real cost of all this comfort? What if this constant ease isn't a strength but a kind of subtle poison? What if the life you've so carefully built to avoid any and all difficulty is the very thing making you weaker, more anxious, and terrified of a real challenge? This isn't a video about rejecting the modern world. It's about arming yourself to thrive in it. We're going to crack open the playbook of an ancient philosophy, Stoicism, to uncover a timeless secret. The deliberate pursuit of discomfort isn't a punishment. It's the most direct path to serious strength, unshakable resilience, and a genuine appreciation for life itself. If you feel trapped by your own comfort, this is your guide to breaking free. 1. The gilded cage of modern life. We're living in a giant paradox. For thousands of years, humanity worked to build a world of safety, abundance, and comfort. And, wow, did we succeed? We're living in a world our ancestors couldn't even have dreamed of. Yet, for all this incredible ease, we're more anxious, more fragile, and more dissatisfied than ever. The very comfort we wanted so badly has become a gilded cage, protecting us from the world, but at the same time, weakening our spirit. Think of your resilience as a muscle. A muscle that's never pushed or tested will atrophy. It becomes weak, limp, and useless. Our modern world, with its endless river of convenience, practically begs our resilience muscle to waste away. We've outsourced our challenges. We don't have to put up with being cold, tolerate being hungry, or even face the boredom of a quiet moment. There's always an app, a service, or a distraction to shield us. But that shield comes at a price. By dodging all the minor hardships, we leave ourselves completely unprepared for the major ones life will inevitably throw at us. When a real crisis hits, a job loss, a health scare, a personal betrayal, we find ourselves without the mental and emotional tools to cope. We've gotten so used to calm seas that we have no idea how to navigate a storm. This isn't some new 21st century problem. 2,000 years ago, in a world far tougher than ours, a group of philosophers saw this danger clearly. The Stoics, thinkers like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the playwright and advisor Seneca, and the former slave Epictetus, understood that a life without hardship is a life without character. They knew that real strength isn't found in avoiding difficulty, but in facing it voluntarily. They knew the path to a good, virtuous, and resilient life wasn't paved with comfort, but with courage. 2. The Stoic mindset, reframing discomfort. Okay, before we get to the how-to part, we have to nail down the why. The Stoic take on discomfort isn't about punishing yourself. It's not masochism. It's a complete flip of the script on what hardship actually means. The core principle of Stoicism, which Epictetus put perfectly, is this. It's not external events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Pain, cold, hunger, failure. These things aren't inherently bad. They're neutral, external facts. What makes them feel bad is the story we tell ourselves about them. Marcus Aurelius, who was arguably the most powerful man in the world, constantly reminded himself of this. He would describe pain as just a rough sensation, something that hits the body but can't touch the mind unless the mind lets it. This is the superpower you have, the power to choose your response. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is what the Stoics meant by living according to nature. They didn't mean we should go back to living in caves. They meant we should accept the nature of reality, and reality is full of uncertainty, change, and discomfort. To fight this, to demand a life of non-stop ease, is to wage a war against existence itself that you can't possibly win. The smarter path is to accept it and use it. This is where discomfort goes from being an enemy to a teacher, a sparring partner for your soul. The philosopher Seneca, who went through political exile and huge personal loss, wrote that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. He saw adversity not as a curse, but as a crucible. It's the fire that forges strong character. Every challenge, every moment of voluntary hardship becomes a chance to practice virtue, the courage to endure, the self-control to resist fleeting pleasure, and the wisdom to know what you can and cannot control. It's not about seeking suffering, but about seeking the courage to endure it. 3. The Forge of Resilience. 5 Stoic practices to embrace discomfort. So, how do we start using this ancient wisdom in our hyper-comfortable world? How do we build this forge for our own resilience? It starts with small, deliberate actions. Here are 5 practical Stoic exercises you can try today. Practice 1. Voluntary physical hardship. The fastest way to break an addiction to comfort is to intentionally introduce its opposite, and the Stoics were absolute masters of this. Instead of sleeping in his lavish bed, it was said Marcus Aurelius would sleep on a rough military cot to keep himself sharp. You don't need to go to that extreme, but you can find a modern version that works for you. The most famous of these practices is cold exposure. Start simple. End your next warm shower with 30 seconds of pure cold water. That initial shock is just your brain screaming its resistance to discomfort. Your job is to breathe through it, stay calm, and show your mind that you're in control, not your fleeting feelings. The point isn't to punish your body, it's to train your mind to stay steady when facing physical stress. You can apply this in other ways. When you're walking outside and a cold wind hits, don't just flinch and run. Stand in it for a second, feel it, acknowledge it without judging it. Wear simpler clothes for a day. These little acts of physical endurance build calluses on the mind, proving to yourself that your well-being doesn't depend on a perfect 72-degree temperature. Practice 2. The discipline of appetite. Our world is all about instant gratification, especially with food. The Stoics knew that mastering our desires is key to inner freedom. Seneca regularly practiced what he called rehearsals of poverty. He'd set aside days to eat only the plainest food and drink only water. Then he'd ask himself, is this the condition that I so feared? You can adopt this practice. Try intermittent fasting. Deliberately skip a meal to feel the pangs of hunger and realize they won't kill you. Or for one day, eat only simple food like rice and beans. The goal is twofold. First, it shows that you are the master of your impulses, not a slave to every craving. Second, it radically recalibrates your sense of gratitude. After a day of simple food, a normal meal tastes like a banquet. You stop taking for granted the pleasures you experience every day. You learn to appreciate what you have, instead of always wanting what you don't. Practice 3. The digital detox and embracing boredom. If Seneca were alive today, his rehearsals of poverty would absolutely include a fast from technology. Modern comfort isn't just physical, it's mental. We're constantly stimulated, our attention hijacked by notifications, feeds, and endless content. We've forgotten how to just be alone with our own thoughts. This practice is simple, but it's not easy. Set aside some time. Start with an hour, maybe work up to a full day, where you turn off your phone, your computer, and your TV. Sit in silence. Go for a walk without headphones. Let yourself be bored. At first your mind will fight back. You'll feel that phantom itch to check your phone, a jolt of anxiety from the lack of input. This is your mind's withdrawal from the drug of constant distraction. By sitting with that discomfort, you reclaim your focus. You learn how to be present. You create the mental space you need for deep thought and actual creativity. This isn't about rejecting technology. It's about making sure that you are using it instead of it using you. Practice 4. Practicing misfortune. Premeditatio malorum. This might be the most misunderstood Stoic practice, but it's also one of the most powerful. Premeditatio malorum means the premeditation of evils. It involves spending time actively thinking about things that could go wrong. This is not an invitation to be morbidly anxious. Think of it as an emotional and psychological vaccination. Take a few minutes to calmly and rationally visualize a potential hardship. Imagine losing your job. Imagine a relationship ending. Imagine a project you're working on failing miserably. Don't wallow in the emotion. Think through it. What would you do? How would you respond? What resources, internal and external, could you use? The purpose is to strip these events of their power to shock and terrorize you. By facing your fears in a controlled way, you prepare yourself to handle them with more composure if they ever happen. And there's a huge bonus: gratitude. After thinking about losing something you value, you return to the present with a vibrant new appreciation for the fact that you still have it. Practice 5. Seeking social discomfort. For many of us, the sharpest discomfort is social. We're terrified of embarrassment, judgment, and awkwardness. The Stoics would see this fear as just another cage to break out of. This exercise is about deliberately engaging in low-stakes social situations that make you feel a little anxious. Next time you're at a coffee shop, don't just order. Ask the barista a real question about their day. Strike up a quick, friendly chat with a stranger in line. Wear something that's slightly mismatched. Ask for a small, harmless favor you'd normally be too shy to request. The goal isn't to be annoying, but to desensitize yourself to the fear of what other people think. You quickly learn a crucial lesson. People are paying way less attention to you than you think. And even if you have an awkward moment, you survive. You realize that social disapproval isn't a lion that can eat you. It's just a passing cloud. Every time you do this, you build emotional resilience and become a little more free from the tyranny of other people's opinions. 4. The transformation. From weakness to strength, starting down this path of voluntary discomfort isn't some grim march toward suffering. It's a journey that will transform you and lead to a more robust and fulfilling life. The benefits aren't just abstract ideas, they are real, and they will ripple through every part of your life. First, you'll build incredible resilience. By regularly facing small, controlled hardships, you're training for the big, uncontrolled ones that life guarantees. When adversity finally strikes, it won't feel like a catastrophe. It will feel like a familiar challenge you've been preparing for. You will have the mental strength to bend without breaking. Second, you'll cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. The comforts you once took for granted will suddenly look like the luxuries they really are. A warm bed, a tasty meal, a quiet moment. These will stop being your baseline expectation and start being sources of real joy. By strategically experiencing less, you will appreciate more. Finally, you will find an inner freedom that can't be shaken. You'll break the chains of desire that keep you constantly wanting more. You'll lessen your fear of loss because you'll have proven to yourself that you can handle it. You'll become less reactive to the world's chaos and other people's opinions, anchored by the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your own strength. This is the ultimate promise of the Stoic path, not a life free from pain, but a life where you are free, even in the middle of it. If this guide to Stoic resilience resonated with you, show your support and hit that like button. It tells us this kind of content is valuable and helps us reach more people who might need to hear this message. And for more ancient wisdom for our modern problems, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, I've got a challenge for you. This is where the philosophy gets real. In the comments below, share which one of these 5 Stoic practices you'll commit to trying this week. Is it the cold shower? The digital detox? Let's create a community of action and hold each other accountable. The world will keep trying to sell you comfort. It will promise a life without friction, a life of endless ease. But now you know the truth. That path, while it looks tempting, is a path to weakness and fragility. The real path to strength, to meaning, and to a life well lived lies in the other direction. It's found in the courage to step outside your comfort zone, to face challenges head on, and to embrace discomfort not as something to fear, but as the very tool of your own liberation. Look, this journey isn't easy, but it starts with one single intentional step. Choose your discomfort. Take that step. The path to a stronger, more resilient you isn't found by avoiding the fire. It's found by stepping right into it.